Ow!
Catherine, what is it?
Ow! This stupid drawer.
Show me. Oh, Catherine, that's a nasty one. One moment, let me help you.
No. It's fine. I'll manage. You shouldn't be getting up. I'm sorry I've disturbed you when you were dozing. It's just a splinter.
What were you looking for? Perhaps I can get it for you.
No, please. Thomas, I was just trying to find some ink, but I've remembered. I already had some out from yesterday. There's no need to trouble yourself. Please, sit yourself back down.
Catherine, what is it? You looked upset as soon as you came in. Now then, we've been married for 37 long years, and I think I know when something is a little more than just a splinter.
It's this Wilberforce's biography. They read some of it out today at the meeting, and it just made me feel like there's so much missing. So little spoken of the arduous hours campaigning, the extensive research, the constant travelling up and down the country. For what? For it all to be forgotten? For history to be cherry-picked by a select few? I need to write to the newspaper. The people have to read about it somewhere.
Oh, my dear. Remember, it was William who spoke in Parliament and galvanised their support for the Act to be written and passed. We do owe him a great deal.
Of course. I'm not denying his efforts or anything of the sort. I just don't believe. I don't believe what I just heard and what I read. I know the work you have done, Thomas, so forgive me for wanting other people to know too.
I understand. There's a great deal of good done by many that will unfortunately go unnoticed and uncredited. But we have no control over that. It's of no import. What we should be happy to remember is that what we did has helped to change the world a little.
You look so sleepy. So, when did Mr. Douglas leave? Did he tire you out?
Only about half an hour ago. Such an honour to have him in our house. The Frederick Douglass, all the way from America, here in Suffolk. My hope would be that his name will be held in the highest regard through history. A man with first-hand experience of enslavement who has risen high above his beginnings to become such a powerful orator. I was truly humbled to meet him. His fight is not only for his own people, but for all those who are oppressed. I may not have many years left on this earth, but when the time comes, Catherine, I will consider myself a happy man for having met him. And for all. And for having met all those.
Thomas, wait!
Edmund, how are you?
We're going to the Eagle. Will you join us?
Thomas!
Charles. No, I'm going to the library.
The library? What for?
I intend to take up this competition of Peckards.
Yes, I have heard of the topic.
You think it not worthy or relevant?
What is it?
Is it lawful to make slaves of others against their will?
Too much is made of it. Slavery? Peckard has been preaching hard against it. And now I see that he's publishing his sermons.
As well he might.
I have heard some of those, and if what he says is true, then it is concerning.
My people have plantations. They say the Africans are taken as the spoils of war by neighbouring tribes, and that they rejoice when they are sold to slavers. They march happily to the ships and sing.
In shackles? Preposterous, Charles. Preposterous. And what of the conditions in the plantations?
Well, better than many labourers could expect here.
I will investigate this matter thoroughly and intensely. Good day.
Thomas, just one drink?
No time for that, for I intend to win. Good day to you both.
Oh, let him go. The fellow is poor of conversation, has little wit.
He is a good man.
Yes. Worthiness and ambition seep from him, like pus from a sore. Come, we waste drinking time.
It's not over. How can this... Can people not know? I must...
Tess, come and look. Help, the young gentleman's in trouble.
Catch hold of the horse, Mother. I'll look to the gentleman.
Yeah, come on, you. That's right.
Are you all right, sir? Here, sit up here on the verge. That's it. Are you all right?
Anneliciat invites in servitutem dare.
What's that, young man? I don't think he's English, Tess. What is the matter? Are you hurt?
No, not hurt, thank you. It's just the essay. I've just realised it's not just an essay. That's not enough, is it?
Here. Have a sip of apple juice. Now, slowly there. Now, what's the matter? What essay?
The Latin essay. Anneliciat invitus in servitutem dare. It's Latin, sorry.
Something about servants.
Slaves. Not servants, slaves. Is it lawful to make slaves of others against their will? And yet this is happening already. Has been happening for years and years. This isn't academic. This isn't a student project. It's real. It's real. Real, actual people, humans, people whipped, chained, tortured. I can't just write about it. Writing about it is not enough, is it?
What is this? Are you thinking about slaves? What has set you thinking about this on an afternoon?
The essay. But I've realised that I have to do something about it. That I have to work to put a stop to it.
I think it'll take more than one man to sort that lot out, sir. That's what politicians is for, surely.
That's romantic of you, Tess. To think politicians will ever do the right thing? Now, are you feeling better now, sir?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. I am just one man, it's true. No fortune, no position. Definitely not a politician.
So, how are you going to change something that everybody's accepted without question for centuries?
I don't know yet, but I can't think of anything else. Somehow I have to do something to stop the injustice. I don't know. I don't know.
We're not ignorant about the horrible things that go on. Terrible things. Maybe you are the man, sitting here by the road, here in Wadesmill, sipping apple juice and talking to strangers. Maybe you are the man, and it is the time for somebody actually to do something. If not you, then who?
But where on earth would a man start? You're only a young fella. Who will listen?
I don't know yet, but I'll have to think of something. I know I'm not alone. The Quakers. Yes, the Quakers already speak out against slavery. I'll go to them. This is not going to be easy. But if I have to work for, I don't know, 60 years at least, I can say, at least.
If you really want to do something, you should follow what your conscience tells you.
Yes, thank you both.
What for? Listening?
Yes, for listening.
Come on now, sir. It's getting late. Let's get you back onto your horse. Sounds like you've got a bit of a task ahead of you. Maybe the world's ready for a change.
Are you feeling safe up there? Do you think you're ready now to go on riding?
Yes, thank you. I have a long journey ahead. And a long journey ahead, but I'm fine. Thank you. I'll be fine.
There goes a man on a mission.
I found thy ministry very powerful this morning, Elizabeth. It spoke very much to my condition. For some months now, my heart has been aching with thoughts of all those Africans stolen from their country and forced into slavery in the West Indies. Slavery is against all that our faith teaches us, and all Christians should oppose it.
Precisely, Hannah. I have been reading the memoirs of Ottobin Cucchiano. Dost thou know of him? He was once enslaved and then brought over to England and freed by his owner. He's now a Christian and a member of a group of freed slaves called the Sons of Africa. I fear that Ottobin speaks truth when he says that complexion is a predominant prejudice in our country.
And hast thou read an account of the slave ship Zog, Elizabeth?
Yes, it made my heart full of rage, although I know that is not a sentiment we Quakers should allow ourselves to experience.
To think that over 130 people could be thrown overboard from a slave ship in order that the captain might claim insurance money for loss of cargo? Here comes your daughter, Elizabeth. She is becoming a very fine young woman and has been gifted with your sensitive temperament.
May I join you, Mother?
Yes, of course, Margaret. Hannah and I have been talking of the slave trade question.
I believe that Africans are not commodities, but God's children, equal to all of us.
Thou speakest truth, Margaret. It is a traffic so unmerciful and unjust in its nature.
We have a Quaker committee, do we not, who are trying to urge Parliament to abolish this awful trade?
Yes, indeed, and I believe they sent a petition of 300 names to Parliament, but there was no response.
Friends, I believe I overheard thee speak of the cause of abolition.
Yes, William. It is a matter that much concerns us.
Well, friends, I can tell you that things are about to change for the better. I hear that friend Richard Phillips has in recent times had meetings with Thomas Clarkson.
The man who wrote the university essay on the evils of the slave trade.
Yes, indeed, Hannah. Clarkson is a man of the established church, of course, and not of our persuasion, but his heart is very much with us in this matter. He greatly respects the efforts that we Quakers are making to bring abolition to the public's attention, but he feels strongly, as I think I do, that Quakers cannot succeed alone.
I feel I have come to that conclusion as well.
If we were joined by others from the wider Christian church, we would have a much better prospect of being listened to by the public. It would be a committee of many talents, with members who, together, had wide influence. Clarkson thinks that Grenville Sharp would be willing to join such a committee.
Sharp would indeed be a great asset. As a lawyer, he has admirably defended a number of so-called runaway slaves.
And he spoke up in that despicable case of the Zog.
I can also tell you that Clarkson thinks there is every chance that William Wilberforce would agree to speak up for the cause in Parliament.
If only Quakers were allowed to be members of Parliament.
Yes, Margaret. I believe there will be such a day, but not in our lifetime, I fear. Friends, I am hopeful that progress can be made, but the new committee will have a mighty hill to climb. There is much wealth involved in the slave trade. The first step will be to end the British trade in slaves. Then, God willing, the next step will be to emancipate all those poor souls who have already lost their freedom.
Precisely.
Yes, indeed.
I must depart. Farewell, friends.
Farewell, William.
We will all pray for the success of that committee.
Indeed, friends, we must.
Mr. Clarkson? Forgive me saying so, but what if nobody wants to hear what you have to say?
They will.
What you are proposing, there will be many that disagree.
I know.
They may well make you their enemy.
Then I suppose I must let them do so. The truth is not always palatable. Sometimes there are things that must be said that will reach the ears of those that do not want to hear it, in order to reach those that do.
Well, I hope you know what you are doing, sir.
This right here just returned from a voyage in the Middle Passage.
How many people would it carry?
A vessel this size, between 350 and 450.
This ship is smaller than all the others there.
Yeah, well, the numbers always thin out, since so many die on a journey. Oi, you're one of them abolitionists, ain't you?
I am.
Let me ask you something. Why are you doing this?
These vessels, on average, weigh between 150 and 250 tons and are barely equal to the size of an average cargo ship. And yet the shipmates will force up to 450 human beings into the barracks below decks. And where they survived there in the most horrific and cramped conditions. They are bound, they are chained, and they are... Many perish on the journey through the Middle Passage. We are talking about civilized individuals, doctors, politicians, even princes and princesses that are being taken from their rightful homes and forced into labor. For every ship that sets sail from West Africa, approximately 15% of those that have been enslaved on board never reach their destination. Can none of you see how appalling this is?
Who cares? Shut your mouth. How can you even call yourself a human being?
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you to calm yourselves.
And you? Why on God's earth are you doing this, eh?
How far out are we from Bristol?
We'll be there within the hour, sir.
Excellent. Thank you.
You got some time to get some rest still.
I cannot. There is too much I must consider before we arrive.
Aye, these here are the standard shackles we use. Iron.
They are rather heavy.
Well, what did you expect? These here are the ones we use to the legs.
And those?
These are our thumb screws.
And those?
Standard branding equipment. Iron, of course. Horrific business.
Did you ever have to use them?
Of course. We'd have had hell to pay otherwise.
I see. May I take some of these with me?
Don't see why not. We got plenty. Here, why are you doing this, Mr. Clarkson?
Furthermore, they are bound to one another by their feet using shackles such as these. Cast iron like this will wear away at ankles over time, preventing an individual from standing independently and forcing them to remain prone on the ground. Now pray, imagine having to keep these on for months upon months at a time.
You devil. What about those of us that work at the docks, huh? What about our livelihood?
Imagine just for a moment what it would be like if you yourself were forced to live such an existence.
Lunatic.
Let him speak.
Well said.
This is a standard branding iron used aboard one of these ships. Do you not see how barbaric this is? That we would treat another man, another woman, another child in such a way.
Shut your mouth, Clark!
Look at yourself. How can you wish this on another human?
You're deluded.
Well said.
If I may have your attention.
What is it you want? Why are you doing this?
The Liverpool docks are one of the centres of Britain's trade. Perhaps indeed the centre. I'm certain what I find there will be compelling evidence indeed.
You're gaining quite a reputation, sir.
Some would say.
Soon everyone across the land will know your name.
Whatever it takes for our message to reach the people.
Mr. Clarkson?
Yes?
Just make sure you are careful.
And this is the ship?
That's right.
What is it like, working on the ship?
I cannot say I have gone through anything close to what the people we transport go through. But it's not an easy life. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Do you ever feel guilty?
I would say you would not be human if you did not. But, well, I would say our sins are repaid in kind on those ships.
You mean God's will?
If you can call it that. You're a strange man, Mr. Clarkson. Just why are you doing this?
Do you all truly believe that this is how we should treat our fellow man? Do you not see this as the cycle of hatred and violence which we have allowed to continue unbroken for years on end? Do you not realize that by turning a blind eye to what does not concern us, we are condemning hundreds of thousands of lives for the fact that they were born in a different place?
That's the glass!
Listen to him! He's telling the truth!
What's the point? Why is it?
Mr. Clarkson, why?
Why are you doing this?
Never your mind.
Stay quiet if you know what's good for you.
Who sent you? I would like to hear the names of those that sent you.
Come on, lads. Let's make this quick.
What shall you do to me?
I said, let's make this quick.
Do you wish to kill me? I suspected as much.
Oi!
So am I to die here, then?
Quiet, you.
Why should I die for nothing more than speaking the truth?
Didn't you hear him? He said quiet.
Believe me, you will not silence us. Our cause is beyond your threats.
Hear him!
Get your hands off me! Take that!
Don't let him escape.
Kill him!
After him.
Catherine? Oh, how well you look. Dorothy Wordsworth, my dear friend. This is a surprise. What a delight to see you.
I see you have your bonnet in your hand. Were you planning to walk?
Yes, I was.
Then we will go together. Oh, this winter seemed long and confining.
It is so good to feel the sun warm. I think perhaps I should like to walk abroad without my bonnet.
Perhaps not, Catherine. It may not meet with approbation. And how is your son?
He grows apace. Ah, I see you wonder. He is at his lessons.
So soon?
He will be 5 shortly. And you are preparing for the happy event?
It will be good for William to be married, and Mary is charming.
But Dorothy, how did you come here? It is such a long way from Grasmere.
Oh, we had business in Penrith, and I had our man bring me to Pooley Bridge. Ullswater is so beautiful at this time of year. William will come on when he has concluded his business. He wishes to talk with Thomas. How is Thomas?
Recovering. Less exhausted. Coming here with all this beauty and not riding from one end of the country to the other and focusing on the farm has been good for him and enabled rest. This matter of William's...
He is writing a poem devoted to Toussaint Louverture.
A truly inspirational figure. And such a poem by the famous William Wordsworth will greatly enhance the cause, I am sure.
But Catherine, have you not heard? Toussaint is taken back to France and imprisoned. They say he is ill.
What? The former slave and leader? He who emancipated others enslaved and was so recently appointed by the French as Governor-General of Haiti? Surely not. Surely they respected him and all his work.
It seems not.
But Dorothy, what freedoms we have.
Indeed.
How they contrast with those of the poor souls my husband has worked so hard to free. Can you imagine their conditions?
I fear to both think of them and read about them. It is often too distressing. Taken from their families and all that they know and have known, transported in appalling conditions.
Branded like cattle, shackled, working constantly under the whip, while here we walk free and are to take pleasure in all that nature gives us.
Indeed, indeed. Listen. A skylark, I think.
I think so. Oh, such a view. I look at my son. As he grows, he can make whatsoever choices he likes in life. He is free to follow his passions. But in parts of America, children born to those in bondage, and children yet to be born, will be forever enslaved. In perpetuity.
It is truly abhorrent.
It is more than that. It is against the laws of nature. It is against the laws of God. And we must make it against the laws of man.
But why this delay, Catherine? When so many feel anger and outrage against this foul trade, why do they tread so slowly?
There is groundswell for change, now. But they speak of the health of the country.
Yes, and of trade. And they point to the news from France.
Even my own father writes in such terms. Fear of radicals, fear of harming trade, fear for the wealth of the nation. But what are these uncertain fears against the abhorrence that is this slave trade?
Amelia! What is it now?
Amelia, are you sure there is no sugar for the tea?
Oh, hush! Matilda or Mrs. Clarkson may hear you.
Catherine, it is so lovely you could come visit with us today. How goes life in Playford?
Very well, thank you, Anna. But it is nice to return to Bury like this. I do miss the bustle of the town at times. It is so quiet in the country for Thomas and I.
Ladies, once again the time has come for us to take action. Elizabeth Heydrich's pamphlet has thankfully renewed the public sympathy in our cause of abolition. We must strike while the iron is hot.
Absolutely.
Hear.
What do you suggest?
The strongest blow that we can make against this monstrous scourge of slavery is a familiar one to most of us. A firm resolve to abstain from West Indian sugar.
Indeed,
absolutely.
Lavinia. We simply must refuse admission of this accursed product into our homes.
Our abstinence some 30 years ago may have been influential in ending the trade, but surely now it would make little difference.
I do remember the first boycott.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Wright was our grocer in Haverhill at the time, and he declared he would no longer sell sugar that was the result of slave labour. We couldn't get it at all.
Great effects often result from small beginnings.
Of course.
I must confess that I don't know what difference the abstinence of a few families can truly make.
Here.
A clear conscience, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
By buying the produce of slavery, we are complicit in its cruelty. It is no wonder the planter refuses to relinquish his whip when we line his pockets thus.
Your example can influence your friends and neighbors, Matilda, who then go on to influence their friends and neighbors, and so it spreads, house to house, city to city. There is always something we can do.
I have been wearing Mother's Wedgwood medallion upon my wrist, and it has piqued much interest among company.
Wonderful.
Oh, do let me see. Am I not a man and a brother? Yes, I remember the phrase now.
Amelia has been studying the poetry of Hannah More and put a verse to music for our cause.
That is wonderful, Amelia.
Oh, yes, well, as we are so lucky to have Danusha staying with us for her recital at the Theatre Royal, then Matilda and I thought she would be perfect to sing with us.
It's nothing.
You are most kind to indulge them, Danusha.
Please, I am happy to help. I'm afraid that the hands of my countrymen are no cleaner than yours. All these years since Britain banned the trade of slaves, yet we have merely taken on her wicked share. No change can come that way.
Hear.
Alas, I fear that call for gradual emancipation has led to gradual indifference to emancipation itself. The people of this country need to act now. Their abstinence of sugar alone would annihilate slavery in the British dominions within a few months.
But surely the matter must be left with Parliament.
And whilst it is left there, the miseries suffered by the enslaved carry on unmitigated.
Well, I'm not sure.
No, we simply cannot continue to advocate this gradual emancipation, or it will surely end in no emancipation.
Better that than more violence and bloodshed from granting such a sudden freedom.
A fear most unfounded, my dear Mary. You will find that Thomas has evidenced time and again that the rebellions of which you speak took place during times of slavery, not once emancipation had been granted. He has always maintained that emancipation is practicable without danger.
And we must also remember that emancipation from slavery does not imply emancipation from the law. Once freed, the people are subject to the same justice as everyone else. a fair justice.
But we do need to think of the planters as well. They too have families which will suffer if we suddenly deprive them of their livelihood.
I agree with you, Anna. Surely gradual emancipation is in the best interests of both the proprietors and the enslaved.
So you are saying that the rights of the enslaved will be best secured by them remaining in slavery?
Well, no,
Come, girls. Let us hear your song.
Oh, yes. Come on, Matilda. Danusha.
As the mild spirit hovers over the coast, a fresh reward the landscape boasts. Her healing smiles the ruined saints repair, and blasted nature bears a joyous air. She spreads her blessed commission from above. With the sacred characters of love. Sacred, sacred, sacred characters of love. She tears the banner stained with blood and tears, and liberty thy standard rears. The brightened signs, glory she displays. See pale oppression faints beneath the blaze. The giant dies no more, his throne above. The untouched drops of the filter falls. Drops off, drops off, drops of the filter falls. Astonished echo tells the vocal shore. Oppression's fall and slavery is no more. The dusky myriads grow the sultry plain, and yielded mercy long invoke in vain. Victorious bow she bears, they toll for pains. Then freedom springs from mercy's hand. Freedom, freedom, freedom springs from mercy's hands. Freedom, freedom, freedom springs from mercy's hands.
Mr. Green, a moment, if you
I'm
please.
pressed for time, sir. I'm not inclined to listen to your pontificating.
You have angered me, Mr. Green, and now you had better listen. You have just left the church on the pretext of being a good Christian. Yet underneath you have not got a compassionate bone in your body.
Be careful what you say, Mr. Clarkson, or you may find yourself guilty of slander.
The truth, Mr. Green, cannot be slander. Do you know, or do you even care, how the slaves on your own plantation are mistreated? Or anything of how they are taken and transported to St. Kitts?
Mr. Clarkson, our conversation in the letters to the newspaper has covered this ground already. I suggest here in the street is not the place for this, in front of all these people.
And I suggest that keeping this debate alive and public amongst fellow Christians is exactly the place.
Very well, very well.
Let the man speak.
You are aware your campaign will do untold damage to the economy of this country.
Nothing can justify the enslavement of fellow humans. As for the economy, Mr. Green, are you sure your concern is not solely for your own wealth?
I've had enough of this. I'm on my way. I have more important things to do. Come, dear. Let us home to our lunch.
Hear him out, sir.
Listen, we need labour, and these people are where we find them. Without them, the economy would collapse. I'm sure all you standing here are happy to consume the spoils of the industry. Think about that, Clarkson, and while you're at it, think about something better to do with your time.
The economy is no justification, as you well know, sir. These are human beings we speak of, each as much a child of God as you or I. You have no right to take them from their homes and treat them like animals.
I resent that. My slaves are well treated, clothed and fed. Perhaps looked after better than some of the farm labourers here.
It is only yesterday I was at the docks in London, where I met two men who had escaped from St. Kitts. They tell a different story. One of them showed the scars on his back, made by the lashes he was given when he had tried to escape.
Shame on you.
I know nothing of that.
But is it not your business to know? Or is your business only the condition of your account sheet?
I will look into it. Now, if you don't mind...
Oh, you will look into it? Oh, I hope this is true. Or might it be another lie? Just like your newspaper is full of lies.
You continue making slanderous remarks like that, Clarkson, and you'll find yourself in court.
Court? Court I would welcome. Then the people of Bury St. Edmunds and the rest of the country might find out the truth.
I cannot stand any more of this claptrap. I'm leaving.
If you read the Bible again, sir, you will find the word of God. Indeed, we all heard it now just in today's reading. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Well said.
Take that thought with you. Home to your lunch, Mr. Green.
Ah, Mr. Prescott. I hear you have come all the way from Barbados to be with us here in London.
Indeed, Mr. Clarkson. 3 long weeks on the rough sea. But I was determined to attend, and my prayer was answered.
It is good you have. We will be interested to hear about events in Barbados.
But first, how incredible it is to see delegates gathered here from Haiti, Jamaica, America, Cuba, and of course our own mother country, England.
Yes, it is important that all are gathered here to share their experience and provide first-hand experience of the odious practice of enslavement.
Is it true, sir, that you have met with none other than Frederick Douglass from the United States of America?
Yes, I am fortunate enough to have had that pleasure. He is full of stories of the situation there, of the heroic deeds of Harriet Tubman, helping people to escape from the South to their freedom in the North. A great, great woman.
What an inspiring speaker Mr. Douglas is. Who, hearing him, would not support his call for the immediate emancipation of his people.
He said to me, in no uncertain terms, that he was not returning to America to sit still, but to stand alongside his brethren in their ongoing battle. What were his words? I go back to undergo outrage with them, to lift up my voice on their behalf.
He speaks for all of us about the monstrous trade.
So tell me, Mr. Prescott, what are conditions like in your part of the world?
In Barbados, sadly, little has improved in the 4 years since emancipation. Enslavement continues in all but name. Work is hard and meanly paid. Few black men live past the age of 30, and if they do, they are often cast off the plantations to beg their bread at the roadside. I am furnished with some harsh statistics. It is estimated that on one particular plantation, over 200,000 slaves have been killed, maimed, worked to death during its history.
And this is allowed to continue? Did not this inhumane treatment lead to a rebellion some years ago? What happened to Bussa and to Nanny Grigg?
The rebellion happened in April of 1815. I was but a lad of 10, but I had been told that it was cruelly put down. More than 100 of the enslaved were hanged or beaten to death. Even women and some who had not taken part in the rebellion were mercilessly executed.
And yet the uprising was simply a desire for liberty and freedom.
A state that is the gift of Almighty God to all men. People were aware of the debate in Parliament about the abolition of slavery, and in anticipating this news spread that freedom had been denied by the connivance of the governor. This was the spark that ignited the keg.
All who are gathered here today are united in the belief that this barbaric trade must stop. I have heard of other rebellions in the Caribbean.
Indeed, sir. But we will continue to fight for true freedom and to be masters of our own destiny, as did the people in Haiti under the General Toussaint Louverture. For myself, I am hoping that we can achieve much without bloodshed, for we are a Christian people and believe in the sacredness of life.
Well said, Mr. Prescott. So what weapons do you have, then?
Mr. Clarkson, I am a journalist and a politician. My newspaper focuses on social injustices. We are actively campaigning for universal suffrage and the eventual access to free education for all.
You are on a noble quest, Mr. Prescott. It is time to return to the conference hall. But these stories must be heard.
Thomas?
I intend to take up this competition of
Let me
petards.
ask you something. Why are you doing this?
Too much is made of it. Slavery?
Here, why are you doing this, Mr. Clarkson?
Stolen from their country and forced into slavery in the West Indies.
Who cares?
What if nobody wants to hear what you have to say?
Yeah, well, the numbers always thin out. Since I'm only on a journey.
And you? What is it you want? Why are you doing this?
They are bound, they are chained, and they are...
My slaves are well treated.
You have angered me, Mr. Green, and now you had better
You're a
listen.
strange man, Mr. Clarkson. Just why are you doing this?
Another man, another woman, another child.
I have more important things to do.
Few black men live past the age of 30.
What's the point? Why are you doing
This
this?
barbaric trade must stop.
But surely the matter must be left with Parliament.
How is Thomas? Recovering, less exhausted.
They are bound.
What's the point?
They are chained.
Dorothy, what freedom do
And
you
they
have?
are...
What's the point?
Thomas?
Great effects often result from small beginnings.
Thomas! Thomas, wait! Thomas?
Thomas?
Thomas!
Thomas! Thomas!
What? Oh, Catherine.
Oh, Thomas. Mr. Coleridge may well have called you a moral steam engine, but you sounded like a real steam engine a moment ago.
Was I snoring again? Oh, I'm sorry, my dear.
Quite all right, my love. You need your rest. But it's late, and we must get you to bed.
You know, Catherine, I had the most vivid of dreams. I feel I have relived the past 60 years all at once. What a life we've had.
It's no wonder you're so tired these days, then.
I fear you are right, as always. But if I had 60 years more, they should all be given to the same cause.
I know they would. And I would be there with you. Just the same. Come.